Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, and I have seen a Leonardo DiCaprio film. I finished watching The Departed, which is my first Leonardo DiCaprio film. And if you're not familiar with why I'm doing this, I am almost 30 years old and I had never seen a Leonardo DiCaprio movie in my entire life. And so I set out to watch 6. I started with The Departed and I will watch 5 more. So let's talk about The Departed. I am not a movie reviewer. I'm actually not a movie consumer by and large, so you should take everything I have to say with a grain of salt and be prepared for this video to maybe not match the typical video review that you're used to watching if you do so. Let's start with the plot. There will be spoilers in this because I'm going to assume you've seen the movie. It's from 2006, so I think the law of spoilers is expired. It's almost 20 years old. So if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. And that's the first thing I'll say. I think this is a good enough movie that you do need to see it. I think the plot of having the good guy play for the bad team and the bad guy play for the good team, and both of them trying to defeat each other and find out each other, is a good setup for a movie. And, so I think the plot works. One of my favorite things was at the beginning where they kind of juxtaposed Billy or Leonardo DiCaprio and Colin or Matt Damon in their upbringing of the police academy and such. And you see how Matt Damon is actually the bad guy and Leonardo DiCaprio is actually the good guy. And how they kind of go back and forth between their lives at the beginning. I think it really sets the stage nicely, and I like that. Oh, I should also mention I'm drinking cranberry juice. Did you get your period yet? Here's the deal. I also liked how this movie had some humor throughout. It seems like they did a good job of cutting the tension with humor when things got pretty intense, and that will lead me into characters. I think Costello, played by Jack Nicholson, was actually my favorite character in this whole movie. I think he does the best job of acting, and in some ways his character is likable for being, the supreme bad guy, although I would argue that maybe Colin or Matt Damon is the ultimate bad guy in this movie, at least in my opinion. If we want to talk more about characters that I do like Billy or Leonardo DiCaprio. I do like Costello or Jack Nicholson. I liked Anthony Anderson or Brown in this movie. I thought he played an important role. He was kind of catching on to Matt Damon in the police academy a few times. And, I kind of liked how at the end he was there to back up Billy before ultimately being killed. Outside of those characters, I didn't have any other favorites, except I will give an honorable mention to a favorite character of Mr. Finch, who was Costello's sidekick. Usually the bad guy's sidekick is pretty dumb or, makes stupid errors. You see that in a lot of movies and books. They're just kind of, almost a stitch in the side of the villain. And I thought Mr. French, sorry, did I say Finch the first time? I think I did. I think Mr. French actually possesses a lot of intelligence, and he is a good sidekick and an intelligent sidekick and kind of mellows out Costello in some ways. So I liked him quite a bit in this film. My neutral characters, I would say, were Madeline, the doctor. She was fine, although she was kind of a rat in herself, where she was, playing for both teams, if you will, not in like a homosexual way, just in like a Billy Collin way. Outside of that, I didn't have a lot of neutral guys. I will say that maybe Queenan was a neutral guy for most of it. And Dingham, I did not care for, obviously, until the end when you realize that he is the ultimate hero. But I kind of hated him at the beginning when they were doing interviews, and he was just kind of a jerk, very aggressive. But it comes around at the end. You see it's for a good reason. I hated is a strong word. I didn't care for the character of Matt Damon or Colin. I think that's probably director's intent. You're not supposed to like him, even though he's appearing as the good guy. And Ellerby, the kind of head of police, played by Alec Baldwin, I found his character to be a little obnoxious, not as funny as maybe he was scripted to be. So yeah, those are probably my 2 least favorite characters in the film. After that, I think the ending is perplexing, is exciting, is kind of this whole lead up for a lot of action. I was shocked. Okay. I don't watch a lot of movies, so I don't always predict movies correctly. I'm not familiar with always how they're structured and predicting the surprises. My mother, tremendous at it. I mean, she can tell you what's going to happen at the end of a movie, in the first 10 minutes. I am not the way. I am not that way, and I was shocked when Billy had Colin in a headlock. He caught him finally, and he gets off the elevator, and Anthony Anderson or Brown is down there, and then the other guy, I can't even remember his name, Berrigan or Fitzy, I don't know. I'm looking at the characters here. The kind of guy who just kind of seems dumb and out of the loop at the beginning, and it kind of just annoys Matt Damon, ends up being also a rat, also a bad guy on Costello's team, and neither of them knew it. And he comes in and he shoots Billy. So you see this hero finally about to get his chance, finally about to wrap up the movie. The good guy ultimately wins, and Billy dies. He gets shot, and then he shoots Anthony Anderson, and then you just got two fake good guys who are bad guys standing there in this abandoned warehouse, and then Matt Damon or Colin turns around and shoots the guy who saved his life because he needed an out. He needed to look like a policeman still, a good guy, ultimately still. And all that leads to him realizing that Jack Nicholson or Costello is actually an FBI informant and that he's kind of untouchable, which opens this can of worms of like, how are we, what, like, is this real life? Like, is this happening? Is our system so dysfunctional that the FBI and the police don't communicate, and the good guys ultimately, who we think are the good guys, are working with the bad guys for information, letting the bad guys do bad things so long as they feed them information for bigger. It kind of depressed me a little bit. Kind of made me more cynical about our system, and kind of makes you wonder about all the things that go on with people who have power. I probably don't want to know. It's not a rabbit hole I want to go down. So then, finally Colin goes back to his apartment where he is killed by Dingham, and that is Mark Wahlberg, kind of gets the final say for the good guys. So that's The Departed. That's my take on The Departed. I would have to watch it maybe a few more times to kind of break down maybe more of the thematics or the motifs or the symbolism throughout. Obviously, you just kind of get the feeling that everybody is a bad guy in their own way. Nobody is truly honest, even down to the psychologist who, cheats on both the good guy and the bad guy, or cheats on the bad guy with the good guy, vice versa. So the final scene, you kind of get this ultimate play up of the humor with the rat, literal rat crawling on the balcony once Dingham walks out of the apartment. So I'm going to give this movie I've been struggling because I don't think it's an 8.5. It was good. It was entertaining, and I would recommend it to people, but I wouldn't say that I'm, dying to watch it again. But I think it's better than a 7. I think 7 is selling it too short for what, who directed this? Scorsese? I don't know his first name. Martin Scorsese was able to do. So we're falling somewhere between 7 and 8.5. And I don't even, like, I want to say it's an 8, but I feel like an 8 is like, it's really good. 7's good. 8's really good. 9's excellent. 10 is unbelievable. I'm going to give it 7.7, and we'll watch another Leonardo DiCaprio movie, and we'll come back and rank them all at the end. I also like the citizens part. I think that's a cool little piece that kind of is a bit of, it provides a little bit of a shift in the movie where Billy actually figures out that Colin is the mole inside of the police force working for Costello. So that'll probably be the thumbnail of this video because I thought that was one of the coolest pieces. So 7.7. Is it an 8? I'll give it an 8. I'm torn. I think maybe I want to like this movie more than I did. So we'll give it between a 7.7 and an 8.2. How about that? I'm comfortable with that. All right. We'll be back next time to talk about another movie. I'm not sure which one I'm watching next. Maybe catch me if you can. Let's do that.